Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
It has been long overdue to expose the truth that the Democrats and Republicans are sucking the life out of America's liberty and usurping our rights at every turn. Now is the time to seize our civil liberties and take back our individual rights. Here on Southern Liberty, we will expose it all. With his musket on his back, the Declaration of Independence in one hand, and the Constitution in the other, here's your host, Roderick Threets.
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in this evening to listen at the man himself in the voice, in the flesh, right? I appreciate y'all 1000%. I want to give a shout out to all the beautiful mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day, and I hope your children or people you call your children, right? Because remember, family is just not blood, right? Family is just not only blood. So hopefully those people that look up to you as a matriarchal figure in their life has taken care of you today. Yes, Lord. Because we here over at Torture Liberty Media, we love you. We love all the women, especially those of you that weren't here for Friday, and kind of what I said on Friday, and I kind of repeat it here. Our women, our blessed women, are under attack now more than ever, under the attack by men. And again, right, those of us that really pay attention to history and the concept of this whole thing, it's always men attacking women. It's not the women attacking each other. It's the men always attacking women. They try to find repugnant and regressive ways to demoralize and displace women. Just like all the other fights the women of the world has been through, they always come out on the backside of that, because one thing you will not do is oppress the Creator's people. The Creator lets you run wild for a minute or two or three, but there comes a time He's had enough and He stops the whole thing. And y'all not gonna like the result when He stops it. So I guess, as my mama used to say, you better quit while you're ahead. Because if you don't, the wrath is gonna be something you have never seen before. Probably haven't seen it since biblical times. Right? We've talked about, for my fellow Christians or ones that understand Christian doctrine, right? We had the flood, we had the Sodom and Gomorrahs, right? We had all those calamities, the plague, right? We had all that, right? Lepers. Don't think for a minute the Creator won't bring that back, just to teach you a lesson. He loves you, but you're not gonna hurt you. You're not gonna turn around and hurt His children intentionally because of you followed the ways of Lucifer and whatever other evil you can think of. So women folk are always going to come out on the backside of it. They're always going to come out on the backside on the good side. The question is when. The question is when, because one thing you're not going to do is stop the continuous cycle of life by trying to cancel them. Because as a man that walks around with a penis between your legs, how it is to be a woman. The only thing you know how to do to a woman is probably stick it in her and run off and leave her once you get her pregnant. That's about the only thing you know how to do with a woman. Because in order, it takes some audacity to step into that space with a penis between your legs to try to say, oh, I know what it is to be a woman. No, the hell you don't. You know what the figment of what a woman may be. But you'll never be on that level to understand what a woman is. And the more you try to appropriate being a woman, the more stupid y'all men sound. Y'all hear me, right? I said what I said. Because again, without women, this life cycle doesn't continue. Then what? I ain't got no friends. Well, you canceled them all. You didn't think ahead. You thought with your dick right now is what you did. You thought with the wrong head. You hear what I'm saying? Because we know that other head, men folk, whether you want to admit it or not, that other head is pretty damn dumb. Just like that Kevin Gates song, I'm just thinking with my dick. That shit dumb, huh? Thinking with the wrong head. And you're going to end up doing something to the world you ain't never seen, because you're going to invoke the creator to do what they got to do to maintain survival. We might not see it in our lifetime, but I'm telling you, you keep pushing the envelope. Keep pushing it. I'm going to tell you, you ain't going to like the end. You ain't going to like the end. But again, I love y'all. I love my women folk. I love them all. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, all the prospective mothers, ones that will be giving birth soon. Appreciate y'all of y'all too. Stay up, and we'll weather this storm with you. Because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. This evening we're going to get into the Constitution and Minarchy, because it's very important. Very important to understand this concept. You've heard me say that, if you're on socials, or you've heard me say it on a show before, what have you, that the United States Constitution is the framework for minarchy. It's fallible men that try to expand that document further than what it's supposed to be. That document says what it says, and anything you try to piecemeal around or jerk it around thinking, oh, we're going to be better about this. We can change the meaning of a certain word and expand this whole thing. People seem to always tend to forget that the United States Constitution protects inalienable rights. It doesn't give you rights, it protects those rights and the rights of the individuals. And some people just tend to think with a collectivist type mindset that we all are in the struggle together. No, we all ain't. We are all in our own individual struggles, and we don't need hot shot lawyers, piece of shit misinterpreters, non-dictionary reading people changing the meaning of words to fit what they want it to be in that moment. Because look, if you don't want to live in the reality of what the definition of words are, you might as well just go ahead and get on the airplane, skirt, right on up out of this country. Because we got to have a uniform and basic understanding what that document means. If we don't, we got a problem. Well, I don't have a problem. You have a problem. Because when you go try to switch things up and, I can't do that. Just like, we need, there's women that are not in the Constitution, so we got to get women put in the Constitution. Women are in the Constitution. Just because it doesn't explicitly say it does not mean they are not. I mean, look, a person, right, is a distinguished male or female. Now, if you're going off of this new age bullshit, a woman is anybody that identifies as a woman, you can be that too. It don't matter, right? It don't matter how you try to chop it up. A person, right, is a distinguished male or female, regardless of how you identify. That Constitution covers your rights because you are a person. Citizens don't have a gender, right? Citizens are subjects of the jurisdiction, right? This is why, on basic principle, this is why all of this fails by default, right? That's why it all falls on its face by default. Because if you start stepping outside of what a person is, then you're basically saying that you are subhuman. Why would you want to put yourself in that in that predicament? I mean, we went through a period in this country where a certain group of people were treated as subhuman and looked at as subhuman. But I'm not going to harp on that. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. But these people don't seem to get it. With the Equal Rights Amendment and trans rights, no. All you're doing is expanding the state, right? And we have to get back to a minarchist state so you don't have to worry about fighting for trans rights. You don't have to fight for civil rights. This shouldn't even be an issue. This shouldn't even be an issue. Right? But I want to read into something. Okay, those of you that have your pocket constitutions handy, go ahead and whip those bad suckers out and open it up to Article 4, Section 4. This is very important, especially now with the immigration issue. Right, we have to understand this. Right, Article 4, Section 4, aka the States Clause, reads as follows. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. This is very important. Because this guarantee clause allows the autonomy of a state to operate as intended. The problem we have right now, if we apply it to the immigration context, right? If we look at domestic violence, right? If we just look at the end of that clause, if you're still looking at your pocket constitutions or looking at it on your tablet or your phone as we're speaking, right? I want you to focus on domestic violence. Okay? Now, you have to get out of the mindset of domestic as in house, dwelling, or family violence, right? Because remember, the United States, all 50 states, creates one big house, right? So when we're talking about domestic violence, right, we're talking about people inflicting harm upon people in the house, right? I want y'all to think about that a second. People that are inflicting harm within the house. Okay. We have an individual and other individuals, sycophants, cohorts, whatever you want to call them, right, that are inflicting harm, right, upon the people of the house, right? Yeah, you know I'm talking about Joseph Biden, right? I mean, this is common sense. He's left this border wide open, right? He allows people just to trounce and walk across this border at will, and then gives them incentive to stay by handing them phones and court dates and, you know, money to maintain until the court date, et cetera, right? When you're stealing, right? Look at it this way, right? This presidency, right? This presidency stealing our money, right? We laying in the bed sleeping, ain't we? Huh? Look, we're laying in the bed sleeping, and they're taking our money out of our pockets and purses, right? Right. After we had already, excuse me, given them money, right? Given them money, they already robbed us the first time. They already extorted us the first time, right? By saying, if you don't give us this money, we're going to put a fully automatic weapon to your forehead until you pay up. And if you decide to struggle, we might just turn around and off you, if not throw you in jail for umpteen million periods of time. So they've already strong on robbed you for money. Then you go to sleep at night. And then the same government comes in and picks your pockets and send it to people coming across the border. You want to talk about domestic violence? You want to talk about Stockholm Syndrome? But people, here's the funny thing, and this amazes me, right? People are against abuse and violence and don't abuse me, but will turn around and take their little blue or red flag to abuse the other flag team, and inflict it upon the masses, upon the people of the United States, the citizens of the states, right? They'll take their flag and browbeat you with it. Like they're virtuous. We're doing good for other people. You ain't doing good for the people in your jurisdiction. Put that flag down. Huh? Put that whole thing down. That whole thing you talking about. The state of Texas has a right to defend its border against domestic violence. The state of New Mexico, even though they won't, has a right to defend their border. California, I know they won't do it, has a reason and a right to defend their border. Arizona, they have a right to defend their border. You can have the federal demarcation line, but the state, the border of the state, right? You can't sit there and say, oh no, you got to let them through under the threat of a gun. Federal government holding these states hostage to commit more violence against the people. Great. I feel for some of the people that's got to come over here. They're running from persecution. But look, at the expense of the American citizen, at the expense of our pockets, no. The strong arm robbery by the federal government has to end immediately, if not sooner. Because if not, that government, again, right, that bureaucracy keeps expanding. And we're talking about Minarchy, right? We're talking about Minarchy, right? I don't think people even believe in that anymore. But then we go, when we look at the documentation, right, of the Constitution and the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers, right? And y'all know I have a tendency to talk about the Anti-Federalist Papers because a lot of what they said in there is actually coming true. A lot of what they're saying is coming true. Anti-Federalist number 10. Okay. And the title of that essay is On the Preservation of Parties and Public Liberty Depends. And there is a very specific part in Anti-Federalist number 10. And the author of it is a farmer. There's actually no one knows who a farmer is. They've tried to figure out what it is, but it was just random, right? But he writes something very interesting here, right? In one of the paragraphs, he writes, America is at present divided into three classes or descriptions of men, and in a few years there will be only two. The first class, which comprehends all those men of fortune and reputation who stepped forward in the late revolution in opposition to the administration rather than the government of Great Britain. All those aristocrats whose pride disdains equal law. Many men of very large fortune who entertain real or imaginary fears for the security of property. Let me stop that a second. Remember, these are the anti-Federalists. These are the people that was against, per se, Jefferson and Hamilton and all these people, right? That's the first class of man, right? But I want y'all to focus in on something, right? All those aristocrats whose pride disdains equal law. Many men with large fortune who entertain real or imaginary fears for the security of property. I want you to think about that. I want y'all to think about that. What the farmer is talking about here, right? Obviously, is the rich, right? The bourgeois, right? And how they're going, how they don't like equal law. They want their own rules, right? They want their own rules, and then leave the second class rules, right? We're talking about the two-tier system, right? We've talked about that, right? The two-tier system, right? They were talking about this in the time of the Constitution, right? Nothing's changed, right? The face has changed, but the ideology remains the same, right? You have a bunch of people that don't want to follow the law, right? And don't want the law applied to them. Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell. But turn around and apply the law to people like R. Kelly. Right? Apply the law to R. Kelly, but don't want to apply it to Epstein and Maxwell. Same shit. See what I'm talking about? And then we've always heard, right? And I'm going to read that part again. Many men of very large fortune who entertain real or imaginary fears for the security of property. Right? Then we have the people of the world like the Klaus Schwab clones. You'll own nothing and be happy because they will own everything. Right? They will own everything, right? This is. I mean, mind you, the Anti-Federalist Papers was written, right, in the late 1780s, right? I mean, this particular piece was written on March 18th, 1788. All right. These elites only want the law applied a certain way. But if you're an elite that gets out of line, Donald Trump, they come for you. They come for you. Right? And the same bourgeois will create a law that will expand the statute of limitations, New York, to allow a civil suit to go through that has no merit. Y'all heard what I said? Right? When the bourgeois get out of line and they step out, the bourgeois of the bourgeois will get things moved around in law and regulation to be able to get at somebody and put a stooge up, E. Jean Carroll, to try to tear that person down. And then and then, right, render a civic verdict, right? Render a civic verdict, right? Huh? But I don't seem to know what I'm talking about, though. Right? They'll send the E. Jean Carrolls. They'll send all these people. But you know what the bourgeois will do, too? Right? In order to take down one of their own, right? They'll use their own construct they created called race, right? They'll send all the dark people for you, right? They'll send all the brown people for you, right? If you get out of line, they'll get them to smear you, right? Remember what Pelosi said, the wrap up smear, right? They'll send their black and brown folk after you if you bourgeois and get out of line, right? Because you're gonna spill the tea, right? And they'll get black and brown people and yellow people and all different colors of people, all non-white people, right? To call you racist, to smear you, to try to get you back in line, right? But if you don't fall in line and the people that they sending for you fall in love with you, now you got a bigger problem. So now we got to show you how we move mountains, how we circumvent the law, right? Basically, right? You use create laws that create a vacuum of post de facto, right? Y'all know what post de facto is, right? To expand a statute, right? To make a claim against somebody to get paid, right? Because they know they could never get him criminally for that, because it was so long ago. She didn't even remember exactly who done it, why, and where, and when. But she got $5 million for sitting there telling a lie, being a puppet. I mean, I'm sorry, what I say? The devil's a motherfucking liar, huh? But people are like, oh, clap. I'm like, are you serious right now? If these people, these bourgeois, are willing to expand the bureaucracy to come get you, imagine what they have already done to you, right? Imagine what they've already done to you when you haven't been paying attention. Oh, you haven't? Let's go back a minute. Let's think about the Terry stop a minute. What they did to you, right? Huh? What they did to you when you were sleeping, while you're running around with their banners, right? Oh, they're racist. And you got to be people. American citizens got to be afraid to get stopped in the middle of the night on the side of a road with wee woo lights behind them. What's gonna happen? Terrorist stop. You ain't done nothing. Terrorist stop, huh? And then if they happen to look in and use that old Jedi mind trick, I smell marijuana. Pennsylvania versus Mims. Yeah, they passed that under the cover of night, right? You know what I'm saying? They adjudicated that and gave them that power to say, I smell weed. Get out your car. While you sitting out here beating the war drum for the bourgeois, they sit here eroding your rights away just as quick as you're marching up and down the street with a BLM, Antifa, whatever kind of flag you got today. Expanding their power and minimizing yours. I don't think y'all. I don't think they're ready for this. See, the farmer also wrote in Anti-Federalist number 10, right? He said that, you remember, there's 3 classes of people, right? So he writes the second class is composed of those descriptions of men who are certainly more numerous with us than in any other part of the globe. First, those men who are so wise as to discover that their ancestors and indeed all the rest of mankind were and are fools. We have a vast overproportion of these great men who, when you tell them that from the earliest period at which mankind devoted their attention to social happiness, it has been their uniform judgment that a government over governments cannot exist, that is two governments operating on the same individual assume the smile of confidence and tell you of two people traveling the same road of a perfect and precise division of the duties of the individual. Still, however, the political pagadium is as old as the proverb that no man can serve two masters, and whoever will run their noddles against old proverbs will be sure to break them, however many hard they may be. Where did he lie? Where in there did he lie? There's many of us truth tellers out here. Right? There's many of us truth tellers out here. But you have the bureaucracy and we have the actual government working together, right, to suppress all of that. Right? You can't have two governments, right, operating in, on the same individual, right? You got the regulations, right, of the bureaucracy, and you got the federal statutes from the government over you at the same time. I don't see where the formula was lying. And it applies today, right? It applies today. Run around here and call somebody, misgender somebody and watch what happens. Go out here and say that you believe the 2020 election was stolen out loud and watch what happens, right? They're going to send the government for you on that one, right? But you jump on Twitter or you jump on Face page or you jump on TikTok, Truth Social, any of them things, right? Somebody reports any of that to the government, the bureaucracy comes and gets you, saying you're spreading misinformation, right? Individual can't serve two masters, right? Can't serve two masters. The former also said something pretty profound. Also, if men can be said to live who scarcely breathe, and if breathing was attended with any bodily exertion, would give up their small portion of life in despair. These men do not swim with the stream of the tremors do, but are dragged like mud at the bottom, as they have no other weight than their taut flesh. They are hardly worth mentioning when we speak of the sentiments and opinions of America. And as a second class never can include any of the yeomanry of the Union who never affect superior wisdom and can have no interest but the public good, it can be only said to exist at the birth of government. And as soon as the first and the third classes become more decided in their views, this will divide each and dissipate like the mist and sink down into what is called moderate men and become the tools and instruments of others. Right. What the farmer literally just described right here. Listen. He literally described what is the current day Democrat Party. Because remember, the Democrats think, right? Democrats have no interest in the public good, right? But they think the public good starts with government and government regulation. Right? This is where, the second class of man comes through, right? This is where we are important, right? And I consider all of us that are liberty defenders, we are that second class, because we're definitely not the third class of people, right? The third class of people, as described, right, is the counted men of the greatest mental powers and of sublime virtue as any in America. They command nearly 1/3 of the property and above half the numbers in the United States. In either event, they must continue to increase in influence by great desertions from both the other classes. That's not us. That's not us, right? The third class of people, the way that reads, are the manipulators, right? They're the grifters, right? We see them all the time out here, right? The grifters, right? One big one, right? Vivek Ramaswamy, right? He's part of that third class, right? He's that grifter class, right? He's that grifter class like Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum's. Right. They're the grifter class. Right. That use manipulation into thought. Right. We're not those people. We are the second class people. And they try to rip us apart and try to make us pick a team, either be on team 1 or team 3. And we refuse to be on either team because we know the truth is right here where we're standing. Everybody else is blind, either blind to it or manipulate the truth to get their way, right? Or the third class works with the first class, right? They try to manipulate the second class, right? See, this is why it's important to look past, right? You have to look past the person saying it and listen to what they are saying, because what that person is saying is more important than what that person is. So we're talking about the Constitution and Minarchy. Again, the Constitution lays it out, Articles 1, 2, and 3. What this is supposed to look like. But as political influence takes over government, we will never see fairness ever again. We will never see fairness again. I think personally, right? I think we're at a point we can't abolish the political parties. I know some of you are going to start moaning and groaning, and I understand. But please do understand, you think there's chaos now. Give these people that have honed their whole life on being a D or an R, and they have no home. They actually have to think for themselves instead of somebody else thinking for them. Right? Think about that a second. want y'all to think about that a second. It'd be chaos. It would be literal chaos. What we need are more options. We need a political renaissance. There's a lot of things we need, right? But everybody's goal should be to follow up on the Constitution. Make sure that document is maintained. Strip all laws that contradict the United States Constitution. Strip all judicial precedents made on a federal level. Scrap those precedents. Because what they've done is created bureaucracy behind those precedents. Right? I mean, look, the biggest one they've done, right? Trump, right? We can go back, we can reach all the way back 30 years and file for punitive damages because you may have touched me in a dressing room. I want people to really sit back and think about it, where they're sitting back clapping and applauding. Yeah, we got Trump. We got Trump. Yeah. Everybody at some point has some sort of skeleton in their closet from 30 years ago, right? They were, young and dumb and did stupid shit, right? Looking back at it now, I was like, that was pretty stupid. Imagine if those persons or group of people or property owner that you harmed comes back and finds you and files a civil suit against you. They can't remember what year it was, but they don't file a civil suit against you because they know it was you. I want y'all to really think about that, what we're walking into, right? But these people, these dear Democrats, these dear lefties, the only thing they know is attack the political opponent and then get mad and cry when it comes back and circles back around on them. We have to get to liberty defenders. We got to get to a point where we are like, you know what? STFU. Just STFU all the way you. All the way. Like, don't stop. Like, all the way. Because eventually what's going to end up happening is you're going to cause me bodily harm by default. I don't know if it's greed. I don't know if it's, look, these are the same people. These are the same people that say, oh no, we have to, preserve the children. We got to do this. And look what they want to leave for their children because they are greedy and hungry now. Look what they want to leave for their children. They want to leave them this mess. Oh, they can sort it out. Yeah, no. You put them there, right? We say the same thing about the boomer generation, right? They put us here, right? We have to stop passing the buck. And the buck doesn't get passed with Gen X. We know how to fix the problem. Just let us do it. But they don't want to because they want to gaslight the little children. Oh, look, Republicans, you're not going to get the Gen Z votes. Oh, my God. Y'all are so horrible. Your policies are so horrible. Blah, blah, blah. All I hear is Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler. Mein Kampf. That's all I hear. That's all I hear when I hear these kids. That's all I hear. Everything that comes out of their mouth, I look at them with 5 heads, because it's like I hear freaking Stalin and Lenin and Marx and Hitler all in one person. I look at them with 5 heads. So it's like, wow, history has come full circle in a little over a century. The same way they forgot about Italian fascism. They try to blame Italian fascism on Mussolini. I suggest people look into Octavian. Octavian, see how he ruled Rome. But I digress. There's one way or another, we are going to stop this with our last dying breath, because liberty must transcend everything else. It must. There's no choice. It must transcend everything else. And we start doing that by taking over our local elections. We steal them. We take them right back. We take them right back. And we instill the values and morals. As I say, we restore them. Because those same values made us the greatest country in the world, and everybody wants to come here. If you love your country, if you love your community, this is a must do. I want to thank everybody for stopping by this evening. I suggest everybody read Anti-Federalist number 10. Read that tonight. Even read number 9 too. Make sure y'all stop back by tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. for What the Hill. Until next time, y'all. Good night. Life, love, liberty, and happiness. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Southern Liberty Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.bpmg.us or leave a rating and review on iTunes. To catch all the latest from Roderick, you can follow him on social media at manofjustice007. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.